Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I have been having some problems. Sorry, inshallah it's over. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشتد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. Now, we have been studying the section Qamar, and we are here on verse 24. Now, they said, what? A man? Why should we follow a lone man from amongst ourselves? That would be misguided and insane. This is a very, very general problem for everyone at any time all over the world, not only for Muslim population, but for all the people. Everybody wants to feel comfortable with the people in general, not to be different from anyone, and also not to follow one person who is opposed by almost everyone in the community. This is the problem for us as well, not only for the early Muslims or the contemporaries of the Prophet, etc. We always prefer to be with the community in general, wherever they are, and not to be separated from the rest of the other people. That is why this Qur'an also, this verse also says, just among us, ordinary man, one man, and why should we follow him? Just one man. We have to follow the majority of the people who definitely agreed on certain ideas or way of life, so that we will be joining the whole body of the people. That is called, some people call it, this is the democratic system. This is administrative system is different. Majority of the people, whoever they are, must be right. It means an individual person sticking out in the society and asking other people to follow him or to listen to him and take what he says seriously. That is why the Quran also explicitly expresses this. We cannot follow a man, just one person among us, and if we do that, we would be insane. That is very interesting for us. We have to also watch out for ourselves that rather than looking around and everybody what the other people are doing and then follow them, even in a family, living in a family and saying that, look, everybody does this and I'm not going to do something different from the rest of the people. Or as far as the belief system is concerned, I'm not going to really believe in an idea or in a worldview different from the rest of the people. That is challenging, practically challenging. That is challenging for everyone, but we have to not look at the majority of the people, but we have to look at what they are saying, whether it is really acceptable for me or not. Even one person may say the truth, the rest of the community may be claiming the wrong ideas or impossible to accept whatever they are saying. That is a very, very interesting subject. So inshallah, we will pay attention to these verses warning us. This is the attitude of the people who reject the prophets. We all know that, and we mentioned on several occasions that prophets are sent when there is no trace of truth in a society, especially, of course, related to the fundamental fundamental idea which everybody must be aware of. What is, we call it belief. Believing in what your understanding of the world, what your understanding of your life, the purpose of your life is. If there is no trace of truth in a society, then one person is employed. Usually, one person is employed to convey the message to the people. Of course, the other people will say, this is just a one person. It means we should pay attention whether this person says something right or wrong, rather than the great number. Of course, in Islamic tradition, Islamic tradition says, depending on the advice of the Prophet, majority of the people cannot unite on mistakes, misguided ideas. But we should be very careful. The hadith doesn't say majority of the people, although I said it on purpose. Majority of my ummah. It means majority of the people who follow the message of God, but they always follow the truth. Majority of them follow the truth. But one condition, they must be following the revelation, the message of the revelation. These people are not expected to unite on a mistake. But here, there is no ummah. There is only one prophet. There is no community, believing community. So we have to be careful whether these people are following revelation or not. Of course, we are not going to go into details of fiqh matters, because when fiqh matters comes to which are the majority of the people, there are different ideas among the ummah, etc. But general trend, for example, believing in God, believing in the hereafter, believing in the prophethood, believing in angels, believing in the fact that God speaks to human beings and sends guidance to them, and also believing in, which is called divine determinant, qadar. It means the whole world is controlled and created by an absolute being, and he is an absolute being. Every single event in the world is created by him. But it doesn't mean when we cannot choose what we are given the options to choose, but whatever we choose, it is created by the one who created the whole universe. So we understand now that the majority of the ummah, the community, believing community, unite on the truth, but non-believing community doesn't matter. You're not following the revelation, doesn't matter. We have to look for the truth. Let's come to 55. Would a message be given to him alone out of all of us? No, he is an insolent liar. Look, the excuse we understand from this verse that the people who reject the prophetic message, and the prophet as well as a truthful person, they don't bring up and counter argument, arguing that, or claiming that his ideas are irrational, unacceptable. What do they say? Their excuse, their reasoning, he's only one man. Of course, he would be only one man to bring the truth to you. Otherwise, all the community will continue following the previous generations. But if the ideas are going wrong and the society is corrupted, how are we going to correct it? Of course, somebody will stand up and speak the truth. So verse 26 says, soon they will know who is the insolent liar. It means there will be a serious warning to them, so that they will understand that they are wrong to reject the prophetic message. But if they listen to the prophet or a person and see what he says, if they have a reason to reject his idea, then they can reject it. But not because we will reject it. The reason is because he is the only one. I think we can use a simple analogy. For example, I am in the college. I am a student in the college and in a college, and I am in the amphitheater, and there is one teacher, and there are maybe 500 students. The teacher speaks. If someone stands up saying that, look, we are 500 people here, and you are one person, why should we listen to you? Of course, it doesn't make sense. We know that. Teacher, the one who knows the subject, will speak. Those people who don't know the subject will listen to the teacher. Even he is a one person in this amphitheater. So we understand that being a majority does. Okay, I made a mistake. That's why I'm sorry. Just a minute. Okay, this one, where is it? Excuse me, just, I should, no, why I cannot get it down. All right. Okay. Majority doesn't mean right, in summary. That's so simple. All right. Now, we are sending the she-camel as a test for them. Just watch them and be patient. Now, we know that a certain prophet sent to a certain people, and the prophet's miracle was just asking people to respect this she-camel. Of course, we are not going to go into the detail. We are not studying the story of this prophet. So she-camel in this story represents God's camel. I mean, Naqatallah, God's camel. It means it doesn't belong to anyone. I mean, we just remember what the message of this story. Do you think any creature in the world does not belong to God? We think in our society, somebody protects it, but anything in the world, first, has the right to exist because it is created. If it is created as a living being, has the right to live. In order to live, this living being, animate being, has the right to continue its life. And all the things are created for the living beings must be shared together. We have to respect the animals and other creatures, plants, etc. These are called God's camel. That's why she-camel, because it is female name used in the Qur'an, but naqa. So it is not really the problem for us. It means we have to take notice of the reality that we have to respect the right of every being. So I am giving the life, and I have to sustain my life. And my creator says, this plant and this animal belongs to me. So you can eat, you can benefit from it. That is God's permission. But it doesn't mean that if there is something here, for example, I can benefit from a fruit or vegetable of a plant, it doesn't mean that I can go and eat it. It may be given to the usage of or the ownership of to somebody else. I have to respect it because it is given to him. I have to look for something which belongs to me. I have to work for it. That is how the order of the universe is established. I have to work for it, and I have to get the ownership or the permission to use it from the creator. He established the order in such a way that I know, everybody knows that this is mine, this is yours, we say. But there may be some animals which are not owned, therefore, which are not protected by others, other beings. So what do we do now? Can we go and plunder it or just use it as I want? I have to respect them. I have to respect. And the Prophet insisted that this particular camel is created for you and it doesn't have any owner. It is a common property, it means. So it must be given the permission to continue its life. And the people, of course, they didn't respect it because it is not owned by somebody else, because their understanding of ownership was what? By people. But for example, there is a tree there, and I'm not going to use and benefit from his being as a tree, for example, use it as a piece of wood for any purpose. And can I go and destroy the tree? No, not because there is no owner, but I have to respect it as long as I'm not going to benefit from it. In the example of this she-camel, what the people did, let's read it now. Tell them that the water is to be shared among them. Look, it is a living being. God creates the universe and also water. God creates this animal, and it may not be owned and protected by anyone, but it is God's property. And this animal also must benefit from God's provision provided for everyone. So let them, so each will have a turn to drink. So you get your share, let this animal also get its share. But what they did, no. They slaughtered it because they thought this animal doesn't have a protector. We can bring it to our practical life. If I say, there is a tree here, no one owns it, I can cut it. Why? Are you going to utilize it, benefit from it? No, because let's say it uses it is not harmful in any way for a tree. It is so innocent. But I don't want this tree to live here. There is a person who doesn't have any protector. Maybe he's an ill person, maybe he's an old person, maybe an orphan, or an animal, for example, a bird. Can I just kill? Or an old man, it doesn't have any protector. Can I go and harm him or her, or maybe kill, maybe steal something from him or her? This is an example. The prophetic message teaches us that we have to learn how to respect the rights of other beings, whatever they are. In the tradition of the prophet's teaching, even inanimate beings should not be disturbed, change their position, their location, maybe a stone, put it into two pieces. Why? I can do it. Why not? It is just a stone. And the prophet really warned people not to do that. Why? Are you going to use it, benefit from it? No. Why do you do that then? That's very interesting. These people are tested with this animal. It means they are taught through this animal, she-camel, that it must be respected and it shouldn't be interfered into its life by not letting this animal benefit from God's provision. So we have to know, that is what the Quran teaches us. We have to respect every being's right, not only animal rights, not only environmental rights. Every being must be respected. So let's read verse 29. But they called their companion who took hold of her, and somebody from among them, and this person cruelly slaughtered her. That is what the Quran says. Because of this, they are destroyed. It means, excuse me. Okay. Then how severe was the suffering which I inflicted when my warnings were disregarded? Now, when we don't take God's warnings seriously and disregard them, these God's warnings, and we start suffering. This suffering is created for us. Now, it may be a physical suffering, it may be a psychological, spiritual suffering. For example, if I say, this creature, this being, doesn't have any protector in this world, so I can harm it or interfere into its life, maybe disturb him, maybe steal something from it, maybe may kill it, whatever, if it is a living being. Now, what does it mean for me now? Those people were destroyed, we will read in the following verses, by physical punishment. But for now, I may not receive physical punishment. There are lots of people harming the innocent people for political reasons, for economical reasons, for power conflicts, so many other reasons. They may be destroyed, they may be interfered, somebody may really damage them, their life. But what we do, when we do this, we don't get any physical punishment in this world, because the verse 31 says, indeed, we sent a single mighty blast against them. They became like dry sticks for fence building. Yeah, it means they lost their life, they became a dead body. It means they are destroyed. They are punished physically. But nowadays, we don't see physical punishments for those people, for example, especially in order to impose their political power and therefore get some economical benefits from other weak people. Thousands of, hundreds of thousands of people are really harmed by their declaring war or doing a lot of political stratagems on them. Their rights are taken away. But they are not destroyed physically. But this verse says we destroyed them. We have to understand that if I have an when an idea, an understanding that this particular people or person has no protector in this world. And I can really go and take his property or harm his life or take over his sovereignty, freedom, and enslave him for my own ambitions. What does it mean? It means I don't acknowledge that their protector, their owner is God, the creator. What does it mean? If I do that, I do it only as a result of my understanding that God is not their owner. They don't have, or protector, they don't have any owner, they don't have any protector, and they don't have their right to live in this world peacefully according to their capacity. I interfere, infringe into their life and exploit their weakness in one way or another. It means that is the result of my understanding. That is what I have to be careful about. My understanding is such that this universe has no owner. Therefore, this being or beings, these beings, don't have any owner. What does it mean? I don't have an owner. If I don't have an owner, I feel what? Purposeless, meaningless in my existence, in my being. This understanding in me destroys my comfort, my security, and leaves me in a meaninglessness. So meaningless life, purposeless life is the worst thing for a human being to live in this world. Because they will say, I have no purpose in my being, and I will die and disappear from this world. This unbelief in God reflects in our actions by really harming other people, harming other creatures, reflects our feelings, in our feelings. This destroys my spiritual comfort as well. Even if I live in this world in a comfortable way because I exploited, for example, colonialization. Nowadays, the colonialization is not a military colonialization. In general, exploiting people's, for example, being not as developed as other people in technology, exploiting their weaknesses and really stealing their labor by advertisements and through social media, brainwashing people, controlling them, and really conditioning them that they should consume your property. They should be following your way of life so that you can exploit their weaknesses in many ways here. You can do that, but ultimately you can get maybe lots of property. I always think this case with this example. Whoever I am, whatever I am doing in this world, I cannot eat more than 2 plates of food. Even if I eat more, it hurts me. Even if I eat richer food, it really causes a lot of health problems. It doesn't help me. Even if I live in a big house with 10 rooms, I can use only one room, not two at a time. I change from one room to another, one room to another. Still, I am living in one room. Even if I wear very expensive clothes, but they are expensive, but I know they are transient. They don't really satisfy my human expectations. I destroy myself within myself with this idea. That is why the Qur'an speaks always in a concrete way, gives the physical examples in order to express in order to teach me my, if you like, feelings and intellect, my consciousness, that I am destroying myself with these ideas. So I have to bear in mind that the description of this, for example, we sent a single mighty blast against them, verse 21 says. Nobody receives this kind of physical punishment nowadays, as far as we can see around, but we understand that spiritually, people, these kind of people, always feel in vacuum. They never, ever get satisfied with anything. They always feel in need of more and more and more. If we really try to experience within our own life, we see that if I don't take notice of the reality of this world, I have an owner, the universe is an owner, and he is really giving us the opportunity to educate ourselves in order to get to know him, so that I will improve my spiritual side, understanding of my reality, so that I will feel comfortable about my existence, my life. Death is just a transfer from this kind of existence to another kind of existence. Human spirit always wants perfection and infinite perfection, not the perfection. If something is transient, it cannot be perfect, as far as human expectations are concerned. So if I don't attach myself, my existence, to an absolute being, I cannot get any satisfaction at all. Any satisfaction. It is impossible. Think about it. We will, even you believe in God, then yes, we belong to God, but just think for a temporary base, if I attribute myself to nothing, no purpose, how do you feel that? So you don't know why you are here and how you are here. You don't know where you are going. That is the horrible feeling that human beings cannot really bear and get any satisfaction at all from any kind of life. Even, I mean, those people speak that so rich people get really a drug addiction, etc. Why? These are the examples. Not everyone, but these are the examples. Why do they get drug addictions? Why do they become addicted to drug? Because they are not satisfied. They cannot be. I mean, if a person claims to believe but not aware of what he is believing, he may have the same problems. And youth adventures are different. Because you don't, when I remember my own young age, just join the group of people, young friends, and do what they do without thinking. But later on, you stop and question, what am I doing? So those people who got, who became drug addiction, in order to satisfy themselves after a certain age, maybe this is called middle age symptoms or syndromes. At the age of 45, 50, they become even more and more ambitious because they know that their life is going. They start feeling it biologically. It's going, but they don't separate body from spirit. That's their problem. That's why they don't believe in God and trust in God and really define their existence in terms of God. Anyway, it goes that the Quran says, gives the material, observable, palpable example. But at the same time, we always hear that the Quran talks about certain people, that God destroyed them in different ways. Every people were mentioned in the Quran were destroyed in a different ways. It means our problems, if we don't trust in God and reject the revelation, it means reject God's guidance and not listen to it, and especially try to prevent the people, the messengers who bring this idea and introduce it to the people, and not let the prophets convey the message to the people. They are always in the Quranic teaching, not because they didn't believe. That is a fine difference, actually. We may not notice. Not that they only didn't believe what the prophet brings to them. No, they tried to stop the prophet. They rejected the prophet. They wanted to prevent the prophet to spread his message. And those people are destroyed in the examples of the Quran. We have to be careful, not because they didn't believe. Those people say, I don't know, I don't understand. This man is one man in the community, says something, but I don't understand. None of my business. I have to do my own work. No, not these people. Those people see that what the prophetic message is teaching goes against their egoistic ambitions. They wanted to prevent the prophet from spreading the message. They reject the prophet, oppose the prophet. These are the people God says we destroyed them. But how about those people who didn't really listen to the prophets and didn't believe in what said, or didn't listen and try to understand, take it seriously, therefore didn't follow the prophet? That is punishment is in the hereafter, not in this world. Those people struggle against the prophet, the Quran gives the examples of their destruction in many different ways. Okay, let's follow. Actually, we understood how we should really appropriate these punishments, warnings to the people, but physical punishments as well to our practical life now. Verse 32 says, we have made it easy to learn lessons from the Quran, who then is willing to take it to heart. This is the repetition of the verse at the end of each section of the people's destruction. It says, really, listen to this message carefully and take it to heart. If you don't want to take it to heart, it means take it seriously for yourself, reflect on it, and if you reject it, then these kind of punishments you will receive as well in this world as well as in the next creation. No, I think we can go further. The people of Lot also rejected the warnings. The same thing happened to different people. Every people has different problems. Every group of people are presented to us within a different context of rejection. So therefore, we send upon them a storm of stones, different types of punishment, except for the family of Lot. It means this storm of stones does not affect those people who follow the message. We understand that if you follow the message, you are saved. Not because nowadays we see any physical punishment, for example, if it is a punishment or not, that is another subject. There is a storm. Maybe, I don't know, hurricane, let's say. Does it really save some people? For example, the hurricane came to a certain area. There were some religious, sincere people. Their houses were not damaged, but the rest is damaged. No, everyone is damaged. That's why this is not punishment. This is just a way of reminding the people, everybody, that this universe is under the control of a creator, of the owner, and it doesn't have to happen by itself as if, but the owner demonstrates that, no, I can create this, I can create that, and you cannot get security just because the order of the universe doesn't change. So it demonstrates that there are different kinds of creations. Earthquake happens. Why? It is created. The order is in such a way that the earth doesn't have to provide me always a comfortable place to stay and feel secure. So I cannot secure my own life. I cannot secure anything, but everything is in the hand of the creator. So these are the changes occasionally happens in the universe as a means of teaching me, educating me that I have to understand this universe is not guaranteed. It has an owner. The owner may create in this way or another way. And then I have to understand, look, my life is given to me, but death is also given to humankind, and I will be also given death when the Creator decides. I have to understand that I'm totally dependent on it. I cannot protect my existence. I cannot protect my life. I am totally dependent on my Creator. That is why it has to, it's from time to time, very rarely, it has to be in this way that I have to remember and take it seriously. This is a warning for me. Look, you cannot guarantee anything, so you'd better put your trust in the Creator. So those people who followed the Prophet are saved. Of course, because we know that nowadays, because there is no physical punishment specified to certain group of people who don't believe in the message or who are rejecting religion. No, nowadays, this is our life. We have to understand that if I follow the message of the Prophet, I understand I belong to an absolute being who is my owner. Whatever he does, he just demonstrates who he is to me. I have to understand who my owner is, and accordingly leave my existence to him, because it is the reality. My existence doesn't belong to me. My life doesn't belong to me. It is given to me. And put your trust in this absolute Creator, but nothing else. We cannot put your trust in your property. It doesn't belong to you anyways. And everybody dies and leave everything. Everybody leaves everything behind when they are given the death. So these people are saved as a blessing from us, because we are created. Why it is a blessing? We are created in a way that if I put my trust in an absolute being, I am blessed. I feel comfortable. I feel secure. I am not worrying about my future. Just, of course, taking care of my daily worldly life is different from future. Means existential future. When death comes, I don't panic as the death is coming to me, as I am getting old, or if I get ill, etc. I don't panic. I say, okay, my Creator has given me. Now, look, he's teaching me what to do. I should do, for example, nowadays people go to doctors and listen to the experts and get the medicine if needed. Do whatever is remaining to you, but your heart is very comfortable. You don't say that, why I am ill, or what will happen to me when I die. No. The owner knows what is doing. You are aware of it. That's why it is a blessing from the Creator. We are created in this way. The universe is created in this way. If I put my trust in Him, I will definitely feel the blessing in me. Thus, we reward those who are grateful. Yeah. Inshallah. So the story continues, Lord had warned them of our punishment, but they doubted the warnings. They said, nah, this is just one person speaking. They even demanded his guests from him, so we blinded their eyes, because they didn't respect the right of not only they didn't listen to his message, they rejected him spreading his message, Plus, they didn't respect his human right either. Why? Because in the example, he had the guests, and they tried to insult the guests. They tried to inflict their understanding of life on his guests as well. So we blinded their eyes. So it means according to their understanding, according to their belief, their intention, the order of the universe is put in such a way that they cannot see the truth anymore. And then the Quran says, taste then the suffering which I inflict when my warnings are disregarded. So we have to understand this. If someone transgresses the right of another creature, what will happen? We may think that he will be comfortable in this world because he has stolen the property of other people and enjoying, but not physically, spiritually. Try to do that, try to test this in your own life. If you really harm somebody for no reason at all, look how we are created. And you come back home. Do you feel comfortable? Test within your own life. Try this. I mean, don't do it. Imagine you harm somebody. You cannot. Have a comfortable life at all. We know that from this example, those people who have been to a recent war, there is no need to mention the name, and harmed the comfort of other people, the rights of other people, just because being in an army, this army says, we are going to really dominate you here, and we are going to rule you here. Why? Because we are superior, we are more powerful. And then they might have done something very bad. What they did on their return home, even some of them before they returned home, they became psychologically deeply disturbed. They couldn't control themselves. Their conscience, their spiritual life was so much confused and hurt, they couldn't bear it. Go and look at these statistics. How many? I have seen one of them were shouting at night, who came from the war. Actually, he couldn't stay there anymore. I don't know, maybe he killed children or innocent people. That's why he felt guilty, sense of guilt. He was out of control. He felt the torture as if the Quran describes in physical terms. I've seen it, and I was so sorry for this guy. And also people say that after the war, those people, they called veterans coming back from the war, mostly are suffering from psychological disorders. Anyways, I don't want to be specifically mentioning certain, whoever harms another person, this person definitely psychologically must suffer. This is the order of the universe, and this is the will of the Creator, so that he is teaching us, you are doing something wrong. Don't do it. Ask for forgiveness. Otherwise, you will suffer. But the description of the Quran is in physical terms. That makes the Quran understood. Difficult to understand, because physical punishment the Quran mentions, and we don't see it happening here. But go and see the hospitals. They are full of people who are suffering from psychological disorders. And you see that if it is not biological, of course, that is something else. But most of them are experiencing the mostly vacuum in their life, loneliness in their life, meaninglessness in their lives, just because they don't believe in God properly and they don't trust God. Leave their existence to Him. Okay. I just wanted to go further. 37, they even demanded his guests from him, so we blinded their eyes. Taste then the suffering which I inflict when my warnings are disregarded. Oh, the time is up, but we started. So early in the morning, an eternal punishment seized them. Now, I think we have to talk a lot, but let me summarize it. Why early in the morning? Because they were expecting satisfaction, a new day, fresh day, because they rejected the prophet. They wanted to satisfy their own emotions. These are all the symbolic teachings of the Quran. An eternal punishment seized them. Mustaqir, continuous punishment. Why? As they were expecting, for example, let's say, okay, I should go and take the property of a poor guy and use it. I will be very comfortable. If I do that, as I expect to be comfortable with physical ownership of the property I have stolen, what happens? Immediately, my conscience warns me, and I get psychologically under pressure. Lots of disorders, if you study, I don't know, but I see the names mentioned, something disorder, something disorder, something disorder. Why? Nowadays, people are experiencing even more. Of course, those people who don't put their trust in God. These are difficult things to talk about, because these are psychological matters. You cannot talk in terms of physical examples. Something is going on within you. That is how we are created. So as they were expecting a pleasure for their life and the prosperous life in the morning, but internally they suffer. And then the Quran says, taste then the suffering which I inflict when my mornings are disregarded. This refrain repeated in this section on many times. So we have made it easy to learn lessons from the Quran. Quran explicitly explains everything. It's not secret. You don't have to be a great scholar to get the general message of the Quran, which is essentially needed. But if someone goes into deep studies of the Quran, of course, there are many, many subtle meanings really in the structure of the language of the Quran. This is something different. That needs scholarship. But generally, Quran invites people to believe in God, to understand that this universe cannot be without any conscious owner. And you and I, the human beings, also cannot be just by ourselves with no purpose in our existence. All these explanations in the Quran are clearly put. It's very easy to understand. But if you want to go into details, that is different. Who then is willing to take it to heart? Now, and the warnings also had come to the people of Pharaoh. It is the same example, but same thing, but with different examples. So not everybody will be treated in the same way. Every time, every people will be treated in the same way. Every sufferings of the people who deny the prophetic message, it means God's guidance, will be the same in different ways. God creates in different ways, but whatever it is, they are all really warnings to us, and we have to take care of it. Otherwise, we will suffer in one way or another way. If it is not physical, mostly it is not physical, but not especially nowadays, we have spiritual torture caused by our own choice, by rejected all our signs, so we seize them with the crushing grip of the Almighty, most powerful again, in a different way. They are also punished. Now, practically speaking, the verses start speaking to the prophet in his own time. Now we have to take it to our own time and try to understand. Inshallah, the time is really late. Inshallah, we can stop here, and from verse 43 onwards, we can go again fast, because different types, but essentially the same message is repeated, giving different examples. Okay. I spoke a lot. Please, if you have anything to say, I'm ready to listen to you. Otherwise, we can stop here, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة. الله